On a 6-cylinder car, the spark plugs are all located on the same side of the engine. To remove them, remove the HT leads. When you remove the first, move on to the second plug and remove all the plugs from the engine. When you remove the last plug from the engine, it's time to remove the distributor. Before we can remove the distributor, we have to set the engine timing. To do this, we have to remove the access plate on the bell housing cover, and to make it more simple, we're going to do this on an engine that we have out of the car. Though we're replacing the spark plugs, it's still necessary to gap them, and to do this we're going to use the feeler gauges. Most plugs that you buy today are going to have a much larger gap than 25 thou, which is what you want to gap your plugs to. To adjust them, take your feeler gauge and run it through the gap. The gap is too large on this plug. Tap the plug against the vise until you correct the gap opening to 25. Do it nice and steady. If you do happen to make it too tight, you'll have to carefully use a screwdriver to open it up. We've got a correct gap there now, and that's how you gap the spark plugs. If you happen to get a plug with no gap at all because it's been dropped or something, take a screwdriver and carefully ease the electrode back, making sure that you don't damage the white porcelain insulator in the center of the plug. Once you have a small amount of gap, just take the screwdriver and ease it against the 2 points. Take your feeler gauge and adjust it to get the right gap. Now we've gapped the plugs, we're going to reinstall them in the engine. You may want to use a small amount of anti-seize grease on the plug before you install it. Put the plug into the hole and carefully turn the extension to making sure that the plug thread is not crossed. Take the plug all the way home using the extension, and then with the ratchet give it 1/4 of a turn so as not to over tighten the plug. Install the HT lead and install the other 5 plugs in the same manner, and that completes the plug service. This is the same basic 6-cylinder engine that we were just dealing with. We need to set the engine timing, and to do that we need the rotor pointing at about 11 o'clock. The next step is to crank the engine, but before we do that we need to locate the timing mark inside the inspection port. Turn the engine until you see the timing mark appear in the inspection port. Okay, that's where we should end up. So now we're going to remove the distributor, take it to the bench and replace the points. Remove the low tension wire, the locating bolt, and loosen the set screw. With the 6-cylinder distributor in the vise, we're now going to remove the points. To remove the contacts, we're going to loosen off the 2 bolts. So, and then this one the same. That will allow us to lift up on the points and remove them. We then need to remove these 2 forward screws closest to the point. To remove the other half. Now we have the points out. Take the opportunity to wipe off the cam, wipe the old grease off the cam. Also the base plate, so that there's no chance of any shorting or arcing through any grease that is accumulated there. You'll notice that the points are two different types, and when you put them side by side, the point on the top is equal to the one on the bottom. If I put them the other way, you can see that the thing is no longer level. What you need to do is to put this point, the smaller of the two, on the raised surface of the distributor, like so. This one on the unraised portion of the distributor, the larger point. You also need to take the opportunity to wipe the grease off the point that is put there to protect it, otherwise it won't make a contact to the contact. Fit your screws into the base plate and just nip them up gently. A magnetic screwdriver helps.
Use one hand. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Then take your contacts. Both of these are the same, but you will notice that we're using a slightly different type. The old ones that we took off are a much less thickness, and they tend to, as you can see, this one is bent away from the contact area. So these ones are far superior. Wipe the grease off the contact. Okay, take a spot of grease and place it on the post for the contact, and a small amount on each cam lobe. Fit your contacts. Might have to loosen the screw off a little bit to allow the contact to slide down behind the washer. And you can nip those up. We can adjust the gap on the points. So you need to set the heel of the point on the cam. So we've done that on the left-hand point. So we take the feeler gauge, and because they're Delco points, they're all set at 20 thou. Now we need to adjust the points. Adjust the points using your 20 thou feeler so that it just slides in without moving the contact. We're now going to go on to this set, turn the distributor till the heel of the point just touches, loosen the locking screw and adjust with the adjustment, set it up so that the contact breaker doesn't move as you move your feeler gauge. Tighten up your locking screw and check again. And that's the points adjusted. Hold the shaft of the distributor and make sure that you have movement for the automatic advance. Take a few drops of oil, put them on the felt, and that's what lubricates the automatic advance there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set up the timing of the distributor. This times the 2 points so that they both fire at the same time. Place the timing tool on the sender shaft, put a live wire on the nut for the low tension connection, and put a test lamp into the ground area of the distributor. I choose the vise. Turn the timing tool until you see the light go out. and you can see that it's on that first point of the timing tool. That's the movable set of points. That's the point at which you can adjust. Turn it around and watch for the fixed set of points where the light goes out for the fixed set of points, which is the second mark in. Take the distributor tool all the way around. Now we need to adjust the points on the movable set to line up with the same mark as they did on the fixed set. To do this, we need to adjust the points, loosen the two black screws that hold the base plate for the movable set of points, and slightly move the base plate around. Take it around to the first set of points on the tool and see where the light goes out. Take it to the second set and check where the fixed set of points goes out. Using this point of the distributor body as your mark. You can see that we're at the second one there, and on the movable set the light goes out at the half-degree mark. Move the points a little further. Take the tool around, watching the light. You can see now that the marks are almost even. That's the movable set and the fixed set. Lock up your locking screws. And recheck your position. And now we've timed the points in the distributor. Okay. Having fitted the new points into the distributor, we're now ready to fit the distributor into the engine. To do this, we make sure that the rotor is pointing to the same position as it was when we removed the distributor from the engine, and we slip it down into the tower. We're now facing with the rotor about 11 o'clock. Okay, so we're going to fit the locating bolt into the distributor tower so that we know that the distributor is far enough down. Then we're going to fit the low tension wire to the distributor. Once the distributor is fitted, we're going to use our test light again to check the timing for the engine. Holding the rotor in an anti-clockwise direction, turn the distributor clockwise until the light just goes out. This is at the point at which the coil is unloaded by the contact breakers just opening. Take a screwdriver and tighten up the pinch bolt. You can see just by pushing the rotor back against itself, the light will flicker on and off, which shows that's the point at which the timing is correct. And that's how you time the distributor to the engine.